where the rubber always meets the road, I think. Actually, I'm not even sure what that means.
Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, live at heartlandnewsfeed.com.
Hey, hey. RFD Illinois on a Friday. We've made it. I'm Jim Taylor. Good to have you along. Where's Rita? Where's DeLoss? They kicked him out of studio today. Rita and DeLoss, they're both down in Florida at the Commodity Classic. You'll hear from Rita a bit later in the program. Yeah, DeLoss is down there too, but he's got to try out with the Kansas City Royals, his favorite baseball team. Hopefully he can make the big league roster and head north with the team. Unfortunately not. He'll head north back to the RFD Radio Network studios next week. A lot to talk about today. We'll get a report from Springfield, the state capital. A lot of debate involving that graduated income tax system. We'll hear from Steve Bridge on that. Our weekly 4Fs report, fuel, fertilizer, feed, and food. We get a reaction from Dan Paneer, the propane market, and also Harry Cooney will join us. Gas stocks in pretty good shape heading into the summer driving season. So that coming up along with Matt Kay. We'll talk some E15 this morning as well. Winding down the week on RFD Illinois on a Friday. And Jim Taylor sitting in for two legends, two icons in ag broadcasting, DeLoss Schonke and Rita Frazier. RFD Illinois on a Friday on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor.
Clean water matters to all of us. For years, farmers have been calling for clean water and clear rules because we know it's possible to have both. Now is the time to make your voice heard. Text WATERS to 52886 and support the new clean water rule proposed by the EPA and Army Corps. Don't wait. The 60-day comment period has begun, so text WATERS to 52886. Contact your local county farm bureau for more information on clean water and clear rules.
From brushing your teeth to washing your clothes, water impacts your entire day. In fact, your family uses an average of 300 gallons each day. To ensure that we have plenty of clean water, Illinois farmers are using renewable resources like grasses and wood chips to protect our water supplies. To learn more about conservation efforts, visit ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau.
Jim Taylor back on the RFD Radio Network on this Friday. A graduated income tax system continues to draw more debate in Springfield with the new governor in office. A rundown from Steve Bridge at the state capitol.
House Republicans are taking a stand on a looming tax issue in Illinois. The push for a graduated income tax system that Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker is saying will help the state's finances and be more fair to taxpayers. House Republicans don't agree.
A graduated income tax is the wrong thing for Illinois.
That's Representative Grant Worley of Naperville. He goes on to say that proposals from the governor will make the state less competitive. Representative Avery Bourne of Raymond discounts the argument made by Pritzker that Illinois should join 3/4 of the other states that have a progressive income tax.
However, what he failed to mention is that half of those states, or 17 of 34, with a graduated income tax structure, top out their top bracket at $60,000 a year for an individual, and that for 6 of those states, they have essentially a flat tax that has the top bracket at under the federal poverty level. These barely reach, or these don't reach, Pritzker's definition of a fair tax, which only impacts the wealthiest in our society.
Democrats have supermajority control of the House and Senate, so if they want that issue to move forward, it will. But any change to the state's income tax structure will need to be done through a constitutional amendment, and that requires voters to weigh in. Worley says it's why the House GOP is raising the issue.
This is the start of our opposition to that. We are unified in that. This is not the solution that Illinois is looking for, and we welcome the opportunity to take our stance to the voters, and I think it will be well received.
A recent nonpartisan poll from the Paul Simon Institute shows that 72% of all Illinoisans, regardless of party affiliation, support a move to a graduated income tax. Reporting in Springfield, I'm Steve Bridge for the RFD Radio Network.
A surprising reversal on Thursday from USDA Secretary Sonny Perdue on the timing of EPA's pending rule to allow year-round use of E15 blended gasoline.
Perdue quickly backtracked from his testimony a day earlier to the House Ag Committee when he told one senator about his House comment that EPA's E15 rule won't be ready for this summer's driving season.
I was speaking on the latest information I had. I was overruled by the acting administrator yesterday who, based on his confirmation hearings and his vote today, I think has committed once again to drive his troops in order to get that done by June the 1st.
Still leaving little time for fueling stations without needed pumps to decide on and get equipment in place. And Perdue seemed to take a more realistic stance on how quickly the new Farm Bill can be implemented based on its complexity and overlapping jurisdiction with other agencies. But he defended possible new proposals to cut USDA staff and programs and the long trade war with China.
If we can get the structural reforms on intellectual property that kind of began this issue, I believe the president wants to. The concern about getting the markets back based on some of the numbers that China has proposed, I think they can come back quickly and more abundantly than we've seen before. If we can see anywhere near the numbers that we're looking at with a potential success, I think the farmers will be rewarded handsomely.
Perdue, meantime, got another earful from Ag Democrats over the impact of USDA's proposed rules for tighter food stamp work requirements Democrats rejected in the Farm Bill. Illinois' Dick Durbin cited a convent in Evanston where nuns pool their food stamps to buy food in bulk to save money.
They are not alone. In our state, we have 150 senior support living facilities and 8,000 seniors in the same boat. These are not people who are welfare cheats. They are not people who are ready to go to work if they're prodded a little bit. Their working years are behind them.
Perdue agreed to look at Durbin's examples and be sensitive to those who can't work, but argued Democrats gave him latitude in the Farm Bill to limit state waivers for others who can work. Top Senate Ag Democrat Debbie Stabenow promised fierce opposition to what she called an end run around Congress and urged Perdue to withdraw his proposal. For the RFD Radio Network, Matt Kay on Capitol Hill.
Lawmakers and ag groups met face-to-face on Capitol Hill this week to discuss the serious labor shortage facing American farmers. They discussed the possibility of a comprehensive legislative package that would ease the chronic problem by legalizing undocumented workers and supporting a steady influx of laborers from other countries. More next on the RFD Radio Network.
All Ag.
All Illinois.
All Now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All Ag, all Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
RFD Radio Network's Rita Frazier connects rural routes for you. Rita delivers passion and reliable information to listeners on the RFD Radio Network. Her radio career spans close to 3 decades. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up on a small farm. My job today allows me to connect with people from all walks of life and experience opportunity every day. I get to talk about what I love, farming.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
This is your RFD Radio Network 4F's report. Fuel, fertilizer, feed, and food, all sources of essential energy. Well, we caught up with Dan Paneer and Harry Cooney at Growmark this week. Very harsh winter with furnaces running on high throughout much of the Midwest, but Paneer says propane stocks are in good shape.
Propane overall, you look back at last year compared to last year, the Midwest, which is your Conway market, that's what supplies us here in the Midwest. It's 21% ahead of last year. Gulf Coast, there's a little bit of that flows up the pipe out of Bellevue, Texas into the Indiana, Ohio market area and then on up to the Northeast. That's almost 25% above last year. So overall, compared to last year, we're about 25% above overall in the U.S. You do look back at the 5-year averages a little bit. We are behind on the 5-year averages, but keep in mind we had there'd be 110 million barrel build we had in there 1 year, Harry, if I remember right. So there's one or two fairly big years in that 5-year average that maybe you kind of got to put them to the wayside. So maybe that's why last year to this year looks quite a bit better than the 5-year average. As you look at it in terms of price, as you have adequate stocks, you would believe that you're going to lead into some very good prices here as you get into the summer. And as you talk summer fill, it leads you to believe that, if things keep picking up here, you should see some pretty good summer fill numbers.
Let's warm things up. What about gas stocks? Thinking about the summer travel season.
We have getting ready for the summer vacation season, and right now very adequate stocks of gasoline. A couple of things to talk about on the liquid fuel front, that we have quite a few refineries going to be taking some downtime for retooling and or maintenance here in the next couple of months, and they always tend to do this in the spring and the fall. They take downtime, so then they tweak themselves to make a little bit more gasoline as they head into that driving season, and then in the fall they retweak them back the other way to make more heating oil and diesel fuel in the wintertime. So going into that period, stocks are very adequate, though. Gasoline stocks on the upper end of the historical range for even this time of the year. And normally there's not a lot of vacations going on here right now, even though spring break seems like it picks up quite a bit of activity anymore. But diesel stocks right in the middle of the historical range. The one thing in gasoline and diesel fuel that's been interesting this year that you don't normally see is the gasoline market has been trading at times 50 cents under the diesel fuel market. Now, you could say, well, is gas 50 under diesel or is diesel 50 over gas? And yes, whichever way you want to look at it. But that's been a story here that will be watched as we go out further into the year to see if that difference comes together somewhat, and my guess it will. Staying 50 cents difference between the two is pretty much a very wide level.
Gas prices currently averaging $2.46 a gallon in Illinois. The diesel average $2.87 a gallon. This has been your RFD Radio Network 4F's report: fuel, fertilizer, feed, and food, all sources of essential energy. Rita Frazier set to check in from the Commodity Classic down in Orlando.
With us is Keith Tapp. He is the chairman of the United Soybean Board. And Keith, just a couple months into that job, how's life been for you there?
It's been very exciting, very rewarding. You think you know what you're getting into, but sometimes you don't, but it's all been good.
Tell us about your operation in Kentucky.
I farm with my nephews, and we raise soybeans and corn, and had livestock in the past, but right now we're just soybeans, strictly grain crop.
Tell us about your connection with USB and the soybean industry. Why get involved?
I was asked by a local farmer if I would be willing to try to serve on our state board. I said yes. He told me 3 meetings a year, that's all you have to attend. Well, I guess that's all you have to attend, but when you see what good work soybeans are doing, you want to be more and more involved. So that's how I got to be more active.
When you talked this morning here to some past chairmen of a USB, what was your message about maybe your goals, and what are you going to be working on in the year ahead?
Well, it was great seeing them, first of all, and a lot of that meeting is for them to give feedback to us, but we told them what we're doing as far as, we're always looking for opportunities, and that's what we're doing here in this booth today, and we want to just make sure that our farmers realize what, their investments are being made wisely. We've got a great board making great decisions. We're looking this year at doing some new innovative projects. The projects have been turned in. We have not seen them yet. We have 3 vice presidents that will go through those, sort those, and that's when we'll pick those up in June and know a little bit more about that.
So do you feel like, and I'm sure you've served on various committees on USB, do you have like a pet project that you're particularly interested in as far as chuck-off research investment?
Well, right now we've got a new bean, the Howell egg bean that's been, we're producing it. We know it does not, the yield is not, there's not a drag there. That's something we want to get in the market, get that demand out there so that we can move some of those, because it's a good bean. It's going to be a great oil. It's going to be a good food product, good industrial use. So that would be a big thing for right now.
And the board, always talk about that farmer board, because that's who's making the decisions on where those checkoff dollars are going.
That's exactly right. We have a 73-member board, and from all over the country, any of the soybean-producing states, and we have different perspectives. So that's what's so great about having that many members. It's a big board, and we're going to grow next year. We're going to have 5 additions to our board. But when we break out into our action teams, everyone has different ideas, or may have different ideas and perspectives. That makes it really good to have that number available too.
So just ahead here of our planting season here in Illinois, what would your take-home message be to Illinois farmers?
Well, just be safe, main thing, and make the best decisions you can. Every year is different. This year's we've had a tough fall, seem like, but hopefully things are going to dry out here soon and people can get in the field. I know guys down south are wanting to be in the field now, and then it's a little early for us and Illinois as well, but hopefully we'll be there soon. Just be careful.
Kentucky farmer Keith Tapp, the chairman of the United Soybean Board at Commodity Classic 2019. For the RFD Radio Network, I'm Rita Frazier.
With the RFD Ag Market Summary for this Friday morning, I'm Jim Taylor. Corn lower, beans lower, and wheat ending Thursday lower. March corn closing at $3.62, down 1 3/4. May corn down 3.70 3/4, and July corn $3.79.5, down 2 3/4. March beans closing at $8.97.5, down 6. May beans down 6.5, 9.10 1/4, and July beans $9.24, down 6.5. March wheat closing at $4.52.5, down 8.5. May wheat down 7 1/4, 4.59.5, and July wheat 4.66.5, down 6 3/4. March bean meal 3.0230, that's down 2.70. March bean oil 29.96, up 16 cents. In current electronic overnight trading, March corn up 1/4, May corn up 1/4, July corn 3.79 3/4, also up 1/4. March beans in the overnight up 2 3/4, May beans up 2.5, and July beans up 2.5, 9.26.5. March wheat in the overnight up 1/2, May wheat down 1 1/4, and July wheat down 3/4 at 4.65 3/4. In the outside markets, April Brent crude oil 66.03, down 36 cents a barrel. The April gold contract 13.1140, down 4.70. In the livestock market from Thursday, April lean hogs 55.87, up 27 cents. May lean hogs up a dime, 65.70. February live cattle 129.95, up 55 cents. April live cattle down 7 cents, 129.85. March feeders 142.87, down $1. April feeder cattle 146.15, down 107. Illinois direct barrels and gilts trading steady on Thursday at 24.31. It's the RFD Ag Market Summary for this Friday morning. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather with the early morning weather update on the RFD Radio Network for this Friday morning. A mix of winter precipitation gradually ended across the southern part of the state on Thursday. It was cooler in central and southern Illinois after the mild weather early in the week. Highs dropped back into the 20s and 30s yesterday. Most readings in the northern part of the state were in the 20s. Skies are partly cloudy to cloudy early today with temperatures in the 20s and 30s. Any precipitation across the state today into Saturday should be spotty and light. Daytime highs will be in the 20s and 30s over the northern half of the state, 30s and 40s in the southern half. A system moving eastward from the Plains states over the weekend will likely bring some accumulating snow to the central and southern part of Illinois later Saturday night through Sunday night. Right now it looks like some 2 to 6 inch snowfall amounts could occur during this time in central and southern Illinois, with the greatest amounts affecting some of the southern parts of the state. At the same time, colder Arctic air will be pushing farther south into the Midwest this weekend into Monday, dropping temperatures down well below normal as highs cool into the teens and 20s over the northern half of the state, 20s and low 30s in the southern half. Dry cold weather is expected across the region early next week, and then temperatures will start to moderate, and the weather pattern will likely become more active once again across Illinois later next week into the 6 to 10 day time frame. Temperatures will moderate somewhat late next week, but it's still likely that 6 to 10-day temperatures will average below normal across a large part of the Midwest. Any warmer conditions will likely be confined to the southern part of the nation. Again, a more active pattern should return with near to above normal 6 to 10-day precipitation, with some snow chances in northern areas and mixed precipitation expected farther south. Once again, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather.
The USDA, National Agricultural Statistics Service, or NASS, recently mailed a survey to Illinois farmers that gives your farm a voice. You can help provide important data that will shape the future of nutrient laws and conservation in Illinois. Look for your NASS survey in the mail in early February. If you receive the survey, take a few minutes and complete it, and return it in the prepaid envelope. Together, we are making a difference in Illinois water quality. Visit ilfb.org/NLRS for more information.
Warmer weather means a longer honeydew list. Your county farm bureau can help you stay on top of your project list and save you money along the way. A Farm Bureau membership offer includes discounts on equipment and supplies from Grainger, plus free shipping on all standard Grainger products. Browse thousands of items from landscaping equipment to power tools. Anything you need to get the job done, Grainger has it. Not a Farm Bureau member? Call us at 309-557-2689. Or visit Illinois Farm Bureau online and join today.
RFD Radio Network's Jim Taylor connects rural routes for you. You can trust Jim every morning for your overnight markets. He gets up early to help keep farmers on top of their game. Here's a bit about his rural routes.
I have the opportunity to cover something different every day and provide listeners with up-to-date markets, news they need to do their job and be successful, from legislative issues to crop updates and weather, of course.
Be it routes or routes, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
If you're in the mood for some sprucing up, you're in luck. From big to small or farm to front yard, your Illinois Farm Bureau member discount from John Deere is ready and waiting to help. It's easy to think green when it's the Rewards Loyalty Program, with savings on equipment, special parts, and home and workshop products. Whether your tasks involve mowing, planting, or cleaning, you'll be set for whatever your work requires. All you need to do is sign up, have your membership number handy, and go to johndeere.com/Farm Bureau.
Your farm is your family's legacy and a part of your hometown heritage. While you work sun up to sundown to get the job done, we're here protecting the things you love every step of the way. Country Financial. Learn more by visiting countrycrop.com. Let's salute a town. Let's think about Orson Welles, and let's think about the great movie Citizen Kane. We head down to Polk County. Hello, Rosebud. That's a sled, by the way, in the movie. Rosebud. Great movie, though. You need to see it. That'll do it for RFD Illinois on a Friday. Jim Taylor pinch hitting for DeLaw Shonky and Rita Frazier on the RFD Radio Network.
RFD Today, a daily look at key topics impacting rural Illinois. If you live in Illinois, we examine the issues impacting you, your family, your income, and your community.
All right, we made it to Friday. That's key point number 1. And we made it to March. That's key point number 2. I'm Jim Taylor. Good to have you along on RFD Today on a Friday. Unfortunately, March, with the turning of the calendar, doesn't mean we're out of the woods in terms of winter weather. I know portions of central and southern Illinois, more snow on the way apparently this weekend. Blame it on freeze notice weather meteorologist Dan Hicks, I guess. We have a lot coming up on the program, most of it from Commodity Classic. DeLoss will talk with Chad Lehman coming up out of the break from Woodford County. He's on the board of the Illinois Pork Producers Association. The latter portion of the program should be fun. Social media specialist Sabrina Berkowitz joins us for her weekly segment, learning a little bit more about social media do's and don'ts today. All that coming up on RFD Today on a Friday. I'm Jim Taylor.
This is the story of Mrs. Clark, who has lived on this very block most of her 80 years, often seen walking to town or serving brownies to the neighborhood kids, and everyone loves her. 2 years ago, a certain family member moved in to look after Mrs. Clark, and that's when everything changed. Mrs. Clark became the victim of elder abuse.
Elder abuse is often closer to home than you think or want to believe. McGruff, the crime dog here. The National Crime Prevention Council wants you to know the signs of elder abuse. Bruises, isolation, reduced activities, poor hygiene, depression, and financial problems. Protect yourself and speak out if you recognize signs of abuse in others.
Elder abuse is a crime that affects over 2 million senior citizens every year. Even more astounding, it's most commonly committed by a family member or someone they trusted. If you suspect abuse, contact your local law enforcement agency. To learn more, go to ncpc.org/seniors. That's ncpc.org/seniors. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the U.S. Department of Justice.
Have you found the best management practices for your farm? Join Moultrie County Farm Bureau and several other partners as we demonstrate the benefits of a saturated buffer. Join farmer Clint Robinson near Sullivan, Illinois on Wednesday, March 20th at 10:30 a.m. Enjoy a free lunch and learn about this innovative practice. Call Moultrie County Farm Bureau at 217-728-4214 and reserve your spot today. Visit the Illinois Farm Bureau Facebook page for more information.
RFD Radio Network's Rita Frazier connects rural routes for you. Rita delivers passion and reliable information to listeners on the RFD Radio Network. Her radio career spans close to 3 decades. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up on a small farm. My job today allows me to connect with people from all walks of life and experience opportunity every day. I get to talk about what I love, farming.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Monte Classic in Orlando. On Thursday, we caught up with Chad Lehman, who's speaking today, it turns out, at Classic, a Bayer crop science event being put on, talking about broadleaf weed control. So with Chad, we can talk about weeds, and we can talk about pigs, and we can talk about cold and all those things. How did you get picked to be the guy to talk about broadleaf weeds?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I have quite a few connections with Bayer, but mostly through Eric Eft. He's a Bayer agronomist over in our area. And as we've worked through weed management across corn, GMO beans, non-GMO beans, and seed beans the last number of years, he had just put me in touch with some of the Bayer folks about talking on this integrated weed management panel tomorrow.
What can you do to seed beans? I mean, how kid gloves do you have to treat seed beans?
Mainly you have to be careful in the harvesting process so you don't damage them. When it comes to weed control, the question is do they want you to grow dicamba beans, Roundup Ready beans, non-GMO? And so you just try to be flexible enough to be able to work that into your program, whatever it is that they need. We grow for Pioneer.
You certainly don't want them to be 9.5. You don't want them to crack or anything like that, but you probably can't go in too early. Are they necessarily tougher or easier than to harvest than crop beans, conventional beans?
We have to be careful with them. You don't want green pods, green stems in the sample. So, but if we can get them at 13 to 14% moisture where we're not cracking them, then we can run some air on them in the bins and get them dried down to that 12.5 that they like to see.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, that's so non-GMO, GMO, seed beans, especially GMO, non-GMO. How close do you grow them two questions about that. How close do you grow them together? Is there any chance of cross-pollination? And then thirdly, what kind of buffer do you want to leave yourself for what you're trying to do?
Yeah, we really need to be careful with the seed beans and having a buffer for those, just so that we're not getting into the neighbors at all and keeping that seed pure. The non-GMO and GMO beans, we can grow next to each other, probably leave a few rows for a buffer at harvest, but really have to watch the wind when we spray them and so forth. And then the other challenge to it is just obviously cleaning out the equipment, cleaning the combine, cleaning trucks when you're switching from GMO to non-GMO to meet those purity standards.
It'd be nice to have a truck for each, but they're the way things are, and they're the ways things should be.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a combine for each. That's the real challenge, getting that clean. But it's a sacrifice that we're willing to make for the premium for the non-GMOs.
Yeah. Are you going back and forth? I mean, in the perfect world, you could get all one and do all the other, but surely it doesn't go the way you want it to.
Rarely works out that way. Yeah, you're right. In a perfect world, but farming is certainly anything but that, and we constantly have to adjust. So we will end up with the other thing you have to think through too is you've got corn in the mix, and so you've got to have that corn cleaned out as well. So it means cleaning out the combine several times a year.
A lot of shop vacs, whatever it takes to get it done. So a couple of years ago, was it 17 when it was a record spring, record February, 60 degrees? All that henbit and all that purple stuff showed up in February, and some people even planted soybeans early in February because it was so nice. Well, this year, I assume you didn't get much done on winter annuals, and there certainly hasn't been an opportunity in February for purple stuff to show up. I mean, how far behind do you feel like you are at this point?
Well, I don't think we're behind yet. We're very wet. In central Illinois, the fields are wet. There's ponds. Last year, we planted beans on March 22nd, and conditions were perfect other than the forecast. So we planted beans March 22nd last year. Those beans got 14 inches of snow 2 days later, and then they had 2 nights below 14 degrees, and they took 46 days to emerge. So it was an interesting 80-acre test last year on that field. Then we planted April 12th and then April 21st. So we had 3 different fairly early plantings of beans last year, and they all were within a bushel of each other in yield. So I think we're, if the weather cooperates and soils are right, I'm not against pushing it again. It's not going to work every year that well, but I'm not against trying it again.
Yeah, we had the snow event in late March, then again in early April, and then we had that window for a while to get in there. So what kind of discipline does it take? How often are you going in there with a pocket knife, or at some point you're calling the guy saying, I get a replant guarantee, right? But you also want to see if they actually come up.
Yeah, no crop insurance coverage at that stage, obviously. So replant, you're on your own. We joked around with some of our Pioneer customers. One of them came out one day and said he was at the elevator, and a local farmer said, I'm going to go out to Layman's Field and dig up a few of those beans. He said, I told him, well, make sure you get in past the end rows. We've got those all dug up now. So we were in those fields quite a bit, and Pioneer was in them quite a bit throughout the summer. Just watching, we planted 140,000 population in that early field, and we lost about 45,000. But it was evenly uneven. So we were able to keep them, and those beans flexed so well that at 95,000 we really didn't have to worry about it.
So if you start anywhere near, that's 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
March 22. Yeah. You stay clean, start clean, stay clean. Is it out the window at that point?
No, we're conventional tillage, so we're not too worried about winter annuals. We just don't have them with, like a no-till tillage program would look like. So I'm not worried about weeds yet. It will be a challenge to meet if we do plant in March, it'll be a challenge to meet the new dicamba label, which gives you only so many days after planting to get it applied. if those beans take 46 days to emerge. But yeah, we'll so far I'd say that we're not into adjustment mode yet on what we're going to plant or when. We'll see whether these fields dry up and warm temperatures come our way.
And FarmWeekNow.com journalist Kay Shipman connects rural routes for you. For 3 decades, Kay has delivered important news. She covers everything from legislative issues to the latest in soil and water conservation. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I love covering so many aspects of agriculture and providing readers with the facts they need to make better decisions. I also get to work with farmers and meet new people along the way.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com and Farm Week keep you connected.
From brushing your teeth to washing your clothes, water impacts your entire day. In fact, your family uses an average of 300 gallons each day. To ensure that we have plenty of clean water, Illinois farmers are using renewable resources like grasses and wood chips to protect our water supplies. To learn more about conservation efforts, visit ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau.
Remember that movie National Lampoon's Vacation? Well, Clark Griswold has nothing on me. Give me the open road and my Illinois Farm Bureau membership card, and I am the ultimate road warrior. Like last summer, I drove the family to Williamsburg at a fraction of the cost. Once I hit the road, I don't stop for much, so I used my membership to rent a minivan from Enterprise. The kids got more bouncing room, and I saved 5%. Then I used my Illinois Farm Bureau membership to save 20% on choice hotels from here all the way to the East Coast. On the way back, we stopped and saved at our favorite theme park, too. I was hoping it would wear out the kids and they'd sleep. Good thing I got that minivan for bouncing, though. No matter how unique my travel needs are, I know that my membership can help. Illinois Farm Bureau. It's membership for my lifestyle.
Isn't it time you learned how Illinois Farm Bureau member-only discounts fit into your lifestyle? Call your county farm bureau or visit ilfb.org for details.
Look up, look down, look around, look up, look down, look around. In the trees and on the ground, 'cause the ALB must be found.
If you're hearing this, you should be concerned about the Asian longhorn beetle, an invasive species that's destroying our trees. But you can help. Look for the signs and help stop the beetle.
Look up, look down, look around, look up, look down, look around. In the trees and on the ground, 'cause the ALB must be found.
Some signs of the ALB are dime-sized holes on tree trunks, a sawdust-like material called frass, and the beetle itself, with a long black body and white spots.
Look up, look down, look around, look up, look down, look around. In the trees and on the ground, 'cause the ALB must be found.
Learn all the signs and how to report them at AsianLonghornedBeetle.com. That's AsianLonghornedBeetle.com.
Okay, so that's some crop stuff. What about hog stuff? Man, you've had to keep the heaters on the last couple of months.
Yeah, we've gone through the propane the last couple months. December was beautiful, really nice December, if you remember, at least in Central Illinois, and then January and February have been rough. Probably the biggest concern on most hog producers' mind is African swine fever, and it makes marketing very difficult as you look out and you say, well, depending on how many pigs China has lost, this could get really interesting by the latter half of this year. But if we get it here in North America, whether it's here or Canada, or Mexico, whatever, I think it's going to just put tremendous pressure on prices when you look at perhaps not being able to export any pork products if this would come our way.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing you don't want to think about, but I'm sure it keeps you, every once in a while, 2 in the morning, that probably hits you. So African swine fever has been in China, it's been in parts of Europe, It is. And there was a paper that came out in Canada that said we need to introduce ASF to Canada, but he was saying that from a biosecurity preparedness standpoint, but some people heard that and thought, wait, what did you say? So the food supply is safe, and even if it got into the United States, the food would be safe, but it certainly goes after pigs. So, I mean, did you deal with PEDV a couple of years ago? And certainly you're concerned about, I mean, what could this do to my herd, my population?
Yeah, no question. You know, after going through PED back in 2014, that certainly showed us how easy some of these viruses are spread. And so as you look at, in the case of ASF, perhaps quarantining actually areas and pockets, geographical pockets, no movement of pigs. You've got pigs that may not be sick, but need to go, but need to get out of there to make room for other pigs coming in. And so it is really a logistic nightmare. The other thing is, like you brought up, public perception. Nobody likes the idea of hearing swine fever, and they worry about their pork, and there is absolutely no danger to humans of consuming that pork, but it's still a public perception. Will they say, I think we might buy chicken or beef if pork's got this problem?
You got all kinds of supply issues at that point. I mean, that's awfully difficult. Yeah, swine fever does not have a pretty good ring to it at all. There's only so many, and there's no vaccine for it.
Correct.
I mean, you are constantly, certainly, biosecurity 100%, and then here's this thing that, you just are praying that doesn't make it in this way.
Yeah, when you see the piles of food and other items that are intercepted at the big airports, and you read about the Beagle Brigade and what they're doing to try to intercept some of this stuff, passengers just are not aware of the danger that it poses to our own food safety in bringing this stuff in from other countries. And so it's going to be a real challenge to keep this out, and I'm hopeful that we'll succeed, but the jury's out.
Isn't that weird? I mean, we need people to know about this stuff so they don't keep bringing things in. But we don't want people to know about this because it could impact what they do when they go to the grocery store. I never considered, here's this delicacy I haven't traveled around enough for this, but to bring food back on a plane for multiple hours doesn't seem like a very good idea to me. So, don't we have enough to contend with already?
Yeah, that's, especially here in the U.S. where people have had such a cheap, readily available supply of food, you don't think about these things, and so and there's not that many of us that are in this business anymore. And it's not like it used to be where everybody had a grandpa or an uncle that was a farmer. Now there's less of us to tell the story. So we'll see what happens. Like I say, I'm hopeful we keep this out, but it's definitely in the back of our minds.
Well, folks from Woodford County can know. I mean, we're not even sitting in the sunlight at this point. We're in the convention center, so Chad actually came down here and got some work done. I don't know about the rest of the family, but this is a business trip, right?
Yeah, that's right. This is a business trip, at least for me. My wife might say it's more for just a getaway, but yeah, this will be a good opportunity to meet up with some people that are down here, and that's always good to do.
All right, good to see you, Chad. Thanks.
Yep, thanks for the time today.
Chad Lehman, Woodford County farmer, also on the board of the Illinois Pork Producers Association, chatting with DeLaw Schonke at the Commodity Classic down in Orlando, Florida. Sell it now, sell it fast with Farm Week classified ads. Call our toll-free number, 800-573-6120, Monday and Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., Wednesday, 8:30 to 10 a.m., or submit online at farmweeknow.com. We have more coming up with DeLaw Schonke at the Commodity Classic in Orlando, Florida this week. Caught up with a representative from BASF, so that's coming up. And then the final segment today should be a lot of fun. We have Sabrina Berkowitz, our social media specialist today, will be joining us in studio in the final segment, and I think pretty interactive, even a video presentation will be available online. I think we're going to talk about kind of the do's and don'ts of social media, kind of quiz bowl stuff. So that's coming up in the latter portion of RFD today on this Friday, the first day of March on the RFD Radio Network.
More farm news and information ahead. Stay tuned for more RFD Today here on the Illinois Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Attention corn farmers. Your corn checkoff dollars are working with the U.S. Meat Export Federation to grow red meat export volumes. Because when we're exporting beef, we're also exporting corn. The beef industry consumes 28% of all corn fed to livestock, plus additional corn in the form of DDGs, a co-product of ethanol production. Now that's what we call working an angle. Your checkoff is working corn from all angles. Because of the Illinois Corn Marketing Board, your profitability is our bottom line. A message from the Illinois Corn Checkoff.
The USDA, National Agricultural Statistics Service, or NASS, recently mailed a survey to Illinois farmers that gives your farm a voice. You can help provide important data that will shape the future of nutrient loss and conservation in Illinois. Look for your NASS survey in the mail in early February. If you receive the survey, take a few minutes and complete it and return it in the prepaid envelope. Together, we are making a difference in Illinois water quality. Visit ilfb.org/NLRS for more information.
Warmer weather means a longer honey-do list. Your County Farm Bureau can help you stay on top of your project list and save you money along the way. A Farm Bureau membership offer includes discounts on equipment and supplies from Grainger, plus free shipping on all standard Grainger products. Browse thousands of items from landscaping equipment to power tools. Anything you need to get the job done, Grainger has it. Not a Farm Bureau member? Call us at 309-557-2689. Or visit Illinois Farm Bureau online and join today.
Clean water matters to all of us. For years, farmers have been calling for clean water and clear rules because we know it's possible to have both. Now is the time to make your voice heard. Text WATERS to 52886 and support the new clean water rule proposed by the EPA and Army Corps. Don't wait. The 60-day comment period has begun, so text WATERS to 52886. Contact your local county farm bureau for more information on clean water and clear rules.
Hi, this is Sabrina Hardy, RFD Business Manager. I want to thank you for listening to the RFD Radio Network, the #1 ag radio network in Illinois. Did you know RFD Radio Network's programming is being broadcast by Rita Frazier and Delosh Yankee with a combined 50 years of broadcasting experience? Join us daily. If you have any questions, email me at chardy@ilfb.org.
If you're in the mood for some sprucing up, you're in luck. From big to small or farm to front yard, your Illinois Farm Bureau member discount from John Deere is ready and waiting to help. It's easy to think green when it's the Rewards Loyalty Program with savings on equipment, special parts, and home and workshop products. Whether your tasks involve mowing, planting, or cleaning, you'll be set for whatever your work requires. All you need to do is sign up, have your membership number handy, and go to johndeere.com/Farm Bureau.
All right, Commodity Classic at BASF. Mark Hubler is U.S. lead for soybeans, which, by the way, so this has just been a few months. Credenz was a Bayer name. That was their baby. That was their entry into the soybean business, and they spun it to you. So how's the transition?
The transition's been great. Excited to be at BASF. I think we've got a lot of opportunity in the future. You know, having come over from Bayer, the brand that I'm representing, Credenz, is only a 5-year-old brand, but we've actually become the 10th most planted soybean seed brand in the U.S. So we enjoyed a lot of success early, and we're just really excited to continue that with BASF.
That's pretty good. That means it came out of the gate yielding pretty well then, I would think.
It did. I mean, that's what growers look for is yield, and we've been delivering that ever since we launched the brand. One thing we're really excited about for the 19 crop year, especially from a yield perspective, is new genetics in a different trait platform called LibertyLink GT27. We're going to be launching 13 varieties in 2019 with the LibertyLink GT27 trait, and we've seen anywhere from 2 to 4 bushel yield advantage over current systems.
Okay. So productivity, and then what are we talking about for weed management?
Yeah, so that's the other component of the system that we feel like is going to provide additional choices to growers. So it's the first technology that you've been able to spray both glyphosate and Liberty over the top. So in the future, it also has a third component, the HPPD component. It's not currently registered, but we're excited to get that technology to market as quick as we can.
What do we need to know about the difference between products and the difference between modes of action? Do we need to be any type of concern with you guys, or is that more of a 2,4-D issue? Is that something but it could also be my neighbor's issue as well?
Yeah.
Like, we want to do the right mode of action, but we don't want to put the wrong product on top of that.
Yeah, so it's certainly getting more complex, but with that complexity, I think brings choices to growers. Growers in soybeans have never had as many choices as they have today, and so we're just glad to be a part of that and be able to provide some choice to growers. Really, one thing we're focused on at BASF is putting at least 2 effective modes of action in every tank, in every spray tank that grows across the soybean field. So making sure we have 2 ways to control the weeds, not just one. We saw certainly resistance develop with using a single mode of action, and we want to make sure that we don't repeat that same thing.
We should have learned about that 20 years ago, right?
Well, it's weeds adapt very quickly, so we're seeing that in soybeans today, especially with water hemp, especially with palmer. So we're really focused on 2 effective modes of action in every spray application. So whether that be post or pre, really focused on multiple tank mix partners to effectively control weeds.
If it's so wet on top, on the surface, how wet is it underneath? And I mean, that's just going to make it even worse for you. I mean, spring planned, early bushels are there, just take them, but sounds easy enough, but this year that could be a real challenge.
Yeah, I think there's going to be, certainly across the Midwest, a lot of challenges just getting the crop in the ground. In Kansas, where I'm from, there's still a lot of snow on the ground. The soil's saturated. I know, talking to people from Minnesota, from the Dakotas, even Iowa, it's pretty snowy and wet everywhere. So
more's coming.
And more's coming. So I don't know that this is the year we're going to be able to plant soybeans as early as we'd like, but we'll just have to see kind of how the spring turns out here.
What do you have to help give those the best possible start whenever it is we do get them in the ground?
Well, I think seed treatments certainly are a key component of soybean production. So making sure that you have a good, solid foundation from a seed treatment standpoint. So a fungicide and insecticide, if you're worried about SDS, for example, or cyst, we've got a product called Alivo that's just been outstanding in the marketplace to control those particular diseases. But
did that spin to you too?
It did, yeah. Alivo is part of the BASF branded umbrella. Yeah.
Any thoughts about germination and that could really hurt our great start.
You mean specifically soybean quality?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a big secret that soybean quality was a concern this year. We had a late harvest. Anytime that you have a late harvest and soybeans just sit out there, can lead to quality issues. I think they were finishing harvest in Nebraska, for example, in December this year, and so we have a very rigorous quality process. So we have production that we haven't been able to sell because it has fallen below quality, but we also have a high volume of product that is of high quality, 90% germ, good AA scores. So we feel very confident what we have out in the marketplace and are selling is of at the utmost quality.
Now, did my retailer change at all? I mean, it's top 10 soybean in the country, but we sure want to know where to find it.
Probably have more retailers. So we are focused on the retail network to distribute credens. I would encourage growers to get online, find out who their rep is, who their local retailer is, and learn more about Credens soybeans.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, RFD Radio Network on RFD today as getting set for our final segment coming up with Sabrina Berkowitz and the Illinois Farm Bureau social media specialist. Coming up, Illinois Products Expo discussion in our afternoon programming. That'll be available on Town and Country Partners on most of these RFD Radio Network affiliates. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Farm Week and Partners Magazine editor Chris Anderson connects rural routes for you. Chris shares her 4 decades of writing expertise by making sure each edition delivers the best information. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I was raised on a farm in Champaign County growing corn, soybeans, popcorn, pumpkins, and poultry. My top priority is to inform, educate, and even entertain Farm Bureau members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Have you found the best management practices for your farm? Join Moultrie County Farm Bureau and several other partners as we demonstrate the benefits of a saturated buffer. Join farmer Clint Robinson near Sullivan, Illinois on Wednesday, March 20th at 10:30 a.m. Enjoy a free lunch and learn about this innovative practice. Call Moultrie County Farm Bureau at 217-728-4214 and reserve your spot today. Visit the Illinois Farm Bureau Facebook page for more information.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network on this Friday. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn a bit lower, beans a bit lower, and wheat also trading lower at this hour. March corn $3.59 and a quarter, down 2 3/4. May corn down 3.67 3/4. July corn $3.76 3/4, down 2 3/4. March beans currently down 1 3/4, $8.95 3/4. May beans $9.07 3/4, down 2 1/2. July beans down 2 1/2, $9.21 1/2. March wheat $4.46 3/4, down 5 3/4. May wheat $4.54 3/4, down 4 3/4. And July wheat presently down 5 1/4. $4.61 1/4. March bean meal $300.80, down $1.50. March bean oil up 11 cents at this hour, $30.07. Look at the latest numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
All right, we're in Commodity Classic. I'm DeLoss Yankee, and we are talking to one of the 2019 4R advocates from the Fertilizer Institute, Michael Ganschow from Bureau County, from Walnut. First of all, let's define this. Can you name the 4Rs? Can you list them off the top of your head?
The right source at the right time, the right rate, and the right place.
Simple as that.
Not all in order, but they're all there. So.
Right, yeah, not all in order. So you, and working with Certified Crop Advisor, I assume, have been trying to achieve these kind of goals.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really trying to, design our fertilizer program to be as best stewards as we can with them, but at the same time get the best utilization out of the things that we're putting out there. I always tell people we pay for these nutrients, and we want to try to keep as much of them on our farm and use as much of them as we can. So by following some of the things we're talking about today with the 4Rs, that helps us do that.
I was talking recently about this notion of, say, a nitrogen stabilizer. Some farmers say, I'll just put on an extra 20 pounds. And I get the shrivels when I hear that sort of thing, because eventually most of that is just going to float away somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that we really focus really hard on our farm is utilization. And over the last couple of years, we've actually been able to increase our nitrogen utilization by the practices that we use and the way that we apply our nutrients. Definitely. It's easy for guys to get caught up on just trying to put more on and worrying about the rest later. But anytime you can improve your bottom line and improve your efficiency with it, I think it's good for everybody.
So you're increasing your utilization so you don't necessarily have to spend more, which also helps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about trying to attain the same or higher yields with less product, that you're applying. And so that's what we've been trying to do, is trying to increase our efficiency with those products.
Yeah. Right time. These 4Rs could be fluid as well, because who knows when it's going to get dry enough, and we'd like to plant early, but who knows this year?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of research out there. You can't just say that one product at one time is always going to be the best scenario. At the end of the day, we're always subject to what the weather gives us. What we try to do on our farm is take what the weather gives us and adjust accordingly as much as we can. That's at least our goals and the things that we do on our own farm.
All right. Michael, Certified Crop Advisor from AgView FS, is Malcolm Stambaugh. So who was first? Were you the 4R guy? Was he the 4R guy? Or are you been working on this sort of thing together?
Together, both of us. Michael's been at the forefront of the technology, and it's worked good for both of us.
Gotcha. So I assume it changes year after year. Like, what is the right time? Well, the right time, we can't get in the field at the right time. So, how do you... surely you do the best you can with that.
Correct. Yeah, watch our soil. We don't want compaction issues, that type thing. So works good.
Certainly you have the opportunity for, if not 300, close to 300. So what kind of, we don't want to put so much nitrogen on that we can't afford to raise 300 bushels either. So how have you're talking about increasing utilization. So hopefully we can grow bigger crops without spending so much on the inputs.
Yeah, that's what Mike was talking about earlier. We don't need to put the inputs out there if they're not needed. So that's kind of what we strive for up in Bureau County, is make all that work together.
Part of the right time would also be, okay, how much do we do in the fall? How much do we do now? And, do you put it on twice? Do you put it on 3 times? How often do you try to fertilize?
Fertilize, we put it in strips, some of it. What we try to do with our nitrogen is split it. We do some in the fall and then do some in the spring for our corn.
How many CCAs do you have, or how many crop advisors do you have just within the cooperative? And how much do you guys talk about this sort of thing of, buy-in and what's the right thing to do?
Probably 16, I would say.
How many of them are 4R guys?
They all practice it, but I'm the only one that's had 4 winners.
4 winners. How many years have you had 4 winners?
I had 13, 14, 15, skipped a few years, and now we got Michael on 19.
Wow. Do you farm with anyone?
I do. I farm with my father, and my grandfather is still alive at 91. I still consider him part of the operation, even though he can't physically do as much as he used to. But I've been farming with my dad since fall 2008, so I've been doing it for over 10 years now.
Are you doing kind of things that they would say, we thought about this, but there was just no way we could execute this sort of thing, but now you're able to put things in practice?
No, actually, not really. We've been crazy in my farming operation for a long time. So my grandfather, Dean Gansha, was actually the first farmer in Bureau County to practice no-till farming.
He thought he was nuts, didn't they?
Well, they absolutely did. And if you talk to him, he'll tell you at the time that, he used to watch his soils when he'd get these big rains when he was plowing, and he said to himself, there's got to be a better way to do this. So he started doing a lot of research and conservation practices, and he started utilizing them himself. The problem was, in those days, you didn't have the tools to do it like we do now. And he tells the story that every time someone would come out to his farm to try to see what they were doing or talk to him about what he was doing, he said they would all do the same thing. They'd talk to him, they'd ask him questions, and he said, usually I'd be out working in the planter or something like that. And I said, I'd get back in the planter, and I'd take off, and he said, everyone would always just shake their head and get back into their vehicle because they thought he was nuts. And he goes, that kind of stuff wears on you as a farmer when you're doing it, because you get to thinking to yourself, man, am I crazy? Am I really doing the right thing? But if you look at the history of our farm and how those practices have changed what we're doing today, it changed our farm operation. It was definitely for the betterment. Malcolm and I are trying to do the same thing, only using different tools. We're using the 4Rs, using cover crops. I installed a wood chip bioreactor with the help of the Illinois Farm Bureau and land improvement contractors, and so we're trying to do a lot of different things to take ourselves to the next level to help solve the problem.
So close to 80. Were there rules of thumb, Malcolm, about when to plant or when to fertilize? Were there like April 15 is the day you do stuff, or and have those sort of things changed as you've been able to evolve like this?
Not really. Most of the guys know, go early. We're getting more prospects on beans, getting the beans out about the same time your corn is, improve the yield. So we're working on some of those kind of things.
You're close enough to the Illinois River, I would think, where that's that can be enough to be in your mindset that we don't need anything floating down the river.
Correct. Yeah, we want it to stay on the land. Don't need to be in the creek or they're going down the river for sure.
Probably helps your sprayer guys. Probably helps other people in the cooperative. If you're not using as much, you don't need as much, and and if you do it at different times, you can spread that sort of thing out. So benefits you and probably benefits every other people in the co-op.
Yes, it does. And if you all work together on that, it can come together too.
Okay. Anyone who would say, well, I've kind of heard of this, but I don't know. It seems easy enough to follow these 4 R's, but to truly practice it, what kind of advice would you give someone who's just learning about it?
But I think one of the main things to do is tell the story. Like Michael's done a fine job. My past winners have done an awesome job just telling what they do and bringing it to the forefront for everyone else can understand their farming practices, and it goes a long way.
Yeah. I don't know what your age is, but I'm guessing 30-ish, but you don't have to be that kind of age to be an early adopter.
No, I think, I think you always have to ask yourself as a farmer, why am I doing what I'm doing? Am I doing this because we've always done it this way, or is it really the best way I should be doing things? And so that's one thing that, we're always looking at in our own operation is, every pass we make in the field, we want to have a reason why we're making it, and we want to continue to add on to that every year and not be shut down to new way of doing things. And I'll tell you, I'm only 34 years old, but you learn the best when you fail on things, because then you realize how you can change what you want to do in order to make it successful. So I tell guys all the time, don't be afraid to fail, because that's how you really learn how to improve yourself and improve your operation.
Very cool. Thanks so much.
Yep. Thank you.
RFD today on a Friday, getting set for our final segment. Some game playing going to go on the RFD Radio Network and RFD Today. Let's check daily livestock news on the RFD Radio Network on this Friday. I'm Jim Taylor. At Greenville Livestock Auction this week, only slaughter steers, slaughter heifers, and slaughter Holstein steers were reported. Compared to 2 weeks ago, slaughter steers and heifers sold $1 to $2 higher. Slaughter Holstein steers sold $1 higher. Trade was active with good demand. Slaughter steers comprised 41% of the reported run. Slaughter Holstein steers 29%, and slaughter heifers 30%. At Fairview Sale Barn this week, compared to last week, slaughter steers and heifers sold $1 to $2.50 higher. Slaughter cows sold $4.50 to $5 higher. Slaughter bulls sold $5 higher. Trade was active with good demand. Slaughter steers comprised 14% of the run, heifers 14%, slaughter cows 68%, and slaughter bulls 4% at Fairview. That's a look at the daily livestock news on this Friday on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor.
How do people benefit from raising livestock here in Illinois? Rich Giebert, Illinois farmer, president of the Illinois Farm Bureau.
Well, growing up on a livestock farm was always interesting, and I enjoy it more today than I did back then. But it did give me the opportunity to have a good work ethic, learn to get up in the morning. And that was difficult during my senior days at high school and college days. I had a tendency not to go to bed at a respectable hour. But no, it was always enjoyable on the farm and getting up before daybreak and milking the cows and getting the chores done and then go about the rest of the day's business.
Illinois Farm Bureau, along with beef, corn, milk, pork, and soybean associations, make up the Livestock Development Group, supporting the Illinois livestock sector. For more information, check out illinoislivestock.org.
All right, RFD Today on a Friday. I need to turn it over to Sabrina Berkowitz. That's DeLaw Schonke. Nick McClintock is running the controls. Jeff Brown running the camera. The A-team is here today.
It's a full
Senior
full
social
group.
media specialist. Take it away, Sabrina Berkowitz.
All right, guys, we try to come to you every week with some helpful, educational, informational stuff about social media. And this week, since I've got Jim and DeLoss here in the booth, we're going to play Fact or Fiction. With social media, etiquette, do's and don'ts, I go and talk to a lot of students, FFA groups, CEO clubs around the state about social media etiquette and things they should and shouldn't do. But it also applies to adults, not just students.
Yeah, I thought you were going to tell us there's no wrong answer, but apparently there is a wrong answer.
All right, so Nick, watch our time because I'm sure we're going to get wrapped up in this.
No, we both go together, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to read a statement, and then you guys hold up your fact or fiction plastic knife signs, and then I'll tell you what the real answer is. Okay, first one, fact or fiction. A great way to stay connected to my Facebook friends is to use the Facebook check-in everywhere I go.
Fiction.
I hate that Facebook. I don't like that Facebook.
All right, they got that one right. That is fiction because we don't recommend that you use the Facebook check-in everywhere you go because it announces that you're not home. It's like saying, hey, everybody, I'm out, so come rob my house. Or if somebody doesn't like you, they know exactly where to find you and your family. So it's something that we don't recommend that you use.
You should also tell this to your young ones, too, right?
Yes, this is great advice for your kids and teenagers especially. All right, fact or fiction. You should always accept Facebook friend requests from your coworkers as a way to build positive workplace relationships.
I don't know.
Or as a way to build division with people in the workplace that don't agree with everything you do.
I'm going to say fact. So I should decline your friend request, Sabrina Berkowitz, is what you're telling me?
Well, yes.
Okay.
So this is fiction. So we want to remind everybody that your social media profiles are yours and you can keep them private. You do not have to accept the friend requests of your coworkers. That could maybe help build relationships and help people get to know you, but more often than not, it could alienate them if they don't like what you post or they become critical or post negative comments about what you say. Then you've created division in the workplace.
I'd still accept a friend request from you, though.
Or you could accept them and snooze them, right?
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you could accept them and then unfriend them or something secretly.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next one.
I'm 2 for 2 here. I'm winning.
This is about Instagram. Okay, fact or fiction. Instagramming your coworker's messy desk, like DeLonce's,
can get you fired.
Is a hilarious way to share your work life with followers.
Well, that's definitely fiction.
Okay, very good. That is fiction.
You might think it's funny.
Yes, but posting anything, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, or Facebook, in the workplace, especially if it's not your desk or anything like that, can get you fired. Many workplaces have very strict rules about what you should and should not put on social media, and you be out violating your coworkers' privacy, and that can be instant termination in some places, so don't do it.
You know, those things are usually done spur of the moment.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. I'll take a picture. I posted
yes,
in 15
let me post
seconds.
That. Yeah.
And
nope.
boom.
And then you've lost your job in another 20 seconds. All right. Fact or fiction. Hitting the share button on something you like is fine if you like it. It doesn't matter where it came from as long as you like it.
I'm going fiction on that.
Boy, I should have written harder questions.
I'm just going with what Jim's going with since I'm up by 1. I'm maintaining.
Oh, I'm not even.
Well, I wanted you to win.
Here.
I wanted you to win because you were a Scholastic Bowl 5-star.
Wait, show the camera.
And I was a Scholastic Bowl walk-on.
Okay, guys, Nick is key. Nick has got a scoreboard over here, and DeLoss is winning by 1.
Well, I'm feeling sorry for DeLoss because
he's
sick, so I took one for the team. So
thank you very much.
Okay, this is fiction, guys, because especially if you're doing social media for an organization or your FFA chapter or something like that. Sharing something because you like it's not a good idea because it could have originated with something really bad. So I'm trying to think of an example might be something funny that was posted about a tractor stuck in a field, but then maybe it originated from a hate group or something on social media. And now you've just shared it on your personal platform or your businesses. And people can find that and become critical, and you're in all kinds of hot water at that point.
Could be a picture of a puppy that may have come from some sort of animal welfare group that we didn't. Oh,
exactly.
Cute, it's a puppy.
For us at Illinois Farm Bureau, we have to be very careful about that because we see lots of things out there that we like related to ag, but we just have to make sure we really know where that originated on social media.
4-3.
Okay. All right. These are going to be easier. I should have written hard ones. So using harsh words like curse words in your social media posts are a great way to help get your point across more effectively.
I'm going to have to go fiction.
All right. It sounds like common sense, but a lot of people don't understand this and feel that they need to make sure everybody understands their point of view. And many times in the heat of the moment, they will resort to using a curse word or very harsh hateful language. So we don't want to do that because prospective employers can see that on your social media profile or your current ones as well.
That pretty much ends the discussion usually.
Yeah, Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
we're done here.
Yep, you're going to get a pretty bad reputation. All right, Nick, do we have time for one more? Okay. Criticizing your job or your boss, and I want to say that DeLoss and Jim's boss is in here right now. Criticizing your job or your boss on social media helps you relieve stress and receive advice from friends.
Well, I'll go fiction on that.
All right, whether you're an adult or a student, this can get you fired right away on the job. So you never, ever want to be venting about your job or your coworkers.
You get the number 1 seed in the
on
NCAA
social media.
tournament, DeLoss. Way to go.
I'm going to go make a post right after this about DeLoss and Jim. No, totally kidding. All right, so that concludes our session for Fact or Fiction today.
And that'll do it for RFD Radio Network and RFD Today on a Friday. DeLoss Schonke, Sabrina Berkowitz, Nick McClintock, Jeff Brown behind the camera. I'm Jim Taylor. It's an A-team here today.
More farm news and information ahead. Stay tuned for more RFD Today here on the Illinois Farm Bureau Radio Network.